There's a reason why Michael Jackson had so many problems, and it all started at home. His father, Joe Jackson, treated his children like they were slaves. He would beat them if they did not do what he said when he said it, and he didn't even allow his children to call him dad. Joe stole away any innocence his kids had and sold them out for fame. So let's get into it. We all know Michael Jackson is one of a kind. I mean, that's one way to put it. And there's a lot of different mixed feelings about him. He was certainly eccentric. He also has a slew of allegations against him. He definitely left his mark on society. But I think a lot of the times we don't go back far enough in Michael Jackson's life to understand why he became this way. And I wanted to make a video about Joe Jackson, his father, because his father was a terrible man who was abusive, emotionally abusive. He was responsible for the Jackson 5 and for Janet Jackson and making them all stars, but at what cost? Maybe the reason why Michael Jackson was always longing for a childhood was because they weren't even able to call their father dad. The late manager and father of 11 was raising his kids through tough love, which often left his children struggling to connect with him and led to an estranged relationship. Both Michael and Janet have spoken about their relationships with Joe throughout the years. They said that Joe would hit his children if they misbehaved. Stepping out of line in the Jackson household often meant you were punished physically by Joe. Joe led his home in fear with a belt in his hand, especially when the Jackson 5 rehearsed, ready to strike anyone who stepped out of line. So they're like performing. He's like whipping them to make sure that they are staying in line. They claim Michael got a lot of hits. And I'm not talking about songs. With the belt, with cords, whatever was around. Michael had a strong hate towards his father, especially during the beatings. Quote, he would throw you up against a wall as hard as he could. He would lose his temper. I was so fast that he couldn't catch me half the time, but when he would catch me, it was really bad. Here's a crazy clip I found with the headline, Michael Jackson talks about being harmed by his father. Joe, his father, denies it and blames slavery.
I would take he would make you strip nude first. He would oil you down. Your whole ritual. He would oil you down. So when the whip of the ironing cord hit you, it would just, and it was just like me dying. And you just whipped all over your face, your back, everywhere. And I always hear my mother back, no, Joe, you're gonna kill him. You're gonna kill him. No. I was like. I would just give up. There was nothing I can do, That explains so much when it comes to Michael's childhood. I mean, as soon as he could talk, he was singing. And as soon as he could walk, he had to dance. And if it wasn't in formation, he was going to be harmed with whatever Joe had in sight. It makes sense why he was kind of like a show pony and always wanted this childhood his father never allowed him to have. You hear his car coming down the drive. We always drove this big Mercedes, and he drives real slow. Show us home, quick! Boom, door slam, everybody runs to their room. Like there's sometimes I'd be in bed at night sleeping. It's 12 at night. The door's locked. So I'm giving you 5 seconds. Open, I'm gonna kick it down. And he starts kicking it. Boom, kick it, like breaking the door down. Why do you sign that contract today? I go, I don't know. He goes, well, sign it. If you don't sign it, you're in trouble. So you would sign? I had to. He was very physical. He'd throw you and hit you hard as he can.
Crazy that he was their manager as well. And he felt like comfortable as their father to beat them, so he could just beat them into business deals. Now, Catherine filed for divorce against Joe several times, but never went through with the separation. She often would try to stop Joe from his violent outbursts, but she never succeeded. Michael said she was always in the background when he would lose his temper, hitting us and beating us. I hear it now, and he says in a female voice, Joe, no, you're gonna kill them. And he would be breaking furniture. It was terrible. Janet felt the wrath of Joe only once. She said, I was very young. I remember being younger than 8, I recalled. I can't remember what it was that I did. I can't even remember if I truly deserved it, but my father never touched me aside from that one time.
I would say, Janet, shut your eyes. She'd go, okay, they're shut. I said, picture Joseph in a coffin. He's dead. Did you feel sorry? She would go, no. That's what we would do to each other as kids. We'd like play games like that. She'd go, nope, just like that. That's how hateful we were. I go, he's in the coffin, he's dead. Would you feel sad? Are you crying? She goes, nope, just like that. You know? That's how angry we were with him.
Even towards the end of his life, Joe justified his behavior, saying parents, they're too soft on their kids. There's no such thing about beating a kid. You whip them and you push them over something they did, and they remember in that way that they'll never do it again. Sounds like dated parenting. He said, I had to be that way because during those times, it was hard and you had a lot of gangs there in Gary, Indiana. Not Indiana. But anyways, I do want to mention that like Joe Jackson did, like, I think he was raised like kind of or born around like Great Depression era. He said, I had to make sure that they didn't get into any trouble. My kids were brought up in a way so they respect people and they were never on drugs, never went to jail, weren't in any gangs. They were professional and nice. He said, I'm glad I was tough because look what I came out with. I came out with some kids that everybody loved all over the world and they treated everybody right. When looking at Michael and Janet, you could praise them for the superstars they became, but his other children, Joe's other children like Rebe and LaToya, accused him of SA. LaToya wrote in a 1991 memoir, when your father gets out of bed with your mother and gets into bed with his daughter and you hear the mother saying, no, Joe, not tonight. Let her rest. Leave her alone. She's tired. That makes you crazy. If the boys missed a step or a note during rehearsals, Joe would beat them with the buckle end or of a belt or an electrical cord or a tree branch. He would have them break off themselves in the backyard. Joe targeted Michael, the singing group's youngest and most talented member. Joe maliciously teasing Michael, calling him Big Nose. Makes sense why he pretty much had surgery to remove his nose. It turned into Michael's hatred of his own nose, a lifelong disfiguring plastic surgery obsession. I can't imagine when you look at Michael, I mean, it's really a consequence of Joe. He called Michael Big Nose, which led to him having all of this plastic surgery, and it was never perfect for him. Michael said that Joe's presence was so intense, it would literally leave him sick. He said, I'd get so scared I would regurgitate, throw up, I guess. His bodyguards would have to hold me up. Michael also said, I had fainted in his presence many times. I've thrown up in his presence because when he comes into the room and his aura comes, my stomach starts hurting and I know I'm in trouble.
My father to this day. My father walked in the room and God knows I'm telling you the truth. I've fainted in his presence many times. I'll say once, to be honest. I've fainted once. I've thrown up in his presence because just when he comes in the room, he just aura comes and my stomach starts hurting.
Michael said, I'm scared of my father to this day. I am like an angel in front of him, scared. One day he said to me, why are you scared of me? I couldn't answer him. I felt like saying, do you know what you have done? His voice breaks. Do you know what you've done to me? Let's hear what Joe has to say for himself.
And Michael said in a recent interview that he was frightened of you. He says that he was so frightened of you sometimes that he would be sick. Is that true?
Well, I just knew about that when I heard him mention that on TV on the Oprah Winfrey show. I didn't know anything about him being sick, but regurgitating. But if he did regurgitate it, he regurgitated all the way to the bank, you know.
What do you mean?
I mean, by me being strict with him a little bit, and it made him a superstar.
It's crazy how Joe justifies his abuse with Michael's success, trying to explain it away. Though Michael did admit that he didn't have it as hard as the rest of the members of the Jackson 5. He said he would use him as an example, Joe would, and said, do it like Michael. And if you didn't do it the right way, he would tear you up, really get you. Here's a clip of Janet talking to Pierce Morgan about her experience being raised by Joe.
I remember being younger than 8, let me put it like that.
I mean, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. And I can't remember what it was that I did. I can't remember if I truly deserved it. But my father's never touched me aside from that time. He's never whipped me.
But he did the boys quite a lot. He was quite physically disciplinarian.
Yeah. When my brother Randy and when we came along, I think my parents got kind of tired. Having 9 kids and raising these children, I think they became, and everyone says, you guys have it so easy. My other brothers and sisters would say. And my parents were a lot more lenient with us. And I thought they were very strict.
Now, they never called their father Dad. They had to call him Joseph. Janet says, I called him Joseph. One time I tried to call him Dad, and he said, no, I'm Joseph. You call me Joseph. I'm Joseph to you. And if he tells you one time, you don't do it again because he's going to beat you up. Again, feeding into why Michael Jackson did not have a childhood, because his father wouldn't even allow him to say daddy. Again, feeding into why Michael Jackson doesn't have a childhood, because he couldn't even call his own father Dad. Now, Joe tried to make excuses for this, saying it sounded stupid with all these kids running around saying dad. Maybe he's got some own like personal trauma. In his defense, he said, I didn't really care about what they called me, which I don't buy that. He just said, as long as they listened to what I had to tell them to make their lives successful. Jermaine Jackson said none of us could remember him holding us or cuddling us or telling us I love you. It wasn't until right before his death where he allowed LaToya to call him Dad. Maybe he got a little like soft spot as he got older, but pretty sad story.
I care about you so much, you have no clue.
I don't like to see a woman cry.
But it's okay to cry.
But you dry those tears up.
I know that all of our life we've always called you Joseph. I would love to call you Dad from now on. Is that good with you?
You don't have to ask me that. You can call me Dad if you like.
I would love to do that.
I love you.
This is so sad. Oh, this man's a monster. I mean, his kids are healing as adults. Such a monster of a man. Hitting his kids wasn't the only way that Joe kept his kids at bay. It turns out he'd also use verbal insults and threats as well, saying, if you guys ever stop singing, I'll drop you like a hot potato, ending their careers. Michael said it hurt me. You would think he would think these kids have a heart and feelings. Wouldn't he think of us? Michael asked, but no. Joe didn't.
I think my father means well and wants nothing but the best for his kids. I just think that the way he went about certain things wasn't the best way, but it got the job done. It's very tough. Jacksons don't cry.
Now, we all know Michael Jackson has his own kids, and while he's no longer here, he did try to break the cycle when it came to his kids, like Paris and Prince. Michael said, if I had kids, I would never behave that way, and when he did not do, I don't think he ever abused his own kids. He said, quote, I don't lay a finger on my children. I don't want them to ever feel that way about me, ever. I don't allow my children to call me Michael. I am daddy. Just the opposite. Joe Jackson died on June 27th, 2018 at the age of 89 from pancreatic cancer. He had been hospitalized in Las Vegas for terminal cancer just days before his passing. Joe was surrounded by his family, including his wife Catherine and several of his children. His passing occurred just 2 days after the anniversary of his son Michael Jackson's death, adding another layer to the family's mourning. What do you guys think in the comments below? I hope none of you have a father like Joe Jackson out there, but if you do, my heart goes out to you. I can't imagine having a kid and treating them poorly, or having a terrible relationship with them, or just like abusing anyone. Like, I just can't imagine that. So if you're in a situation like that, or if you have been, my heart goes out to you. And God, bad parents, like, just don't become parents, you know what I mean? But I think he had kids like with a mission in mind to like have them work and to become these people, and he succeeded. But damn, like, he really destroyed them at the same time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.